This video is for the women who want a little assistance with makeup but always want their skin to look like skin. If foundation has never really been your thing, but you want to look put together, not painted, then this routine will make sense for you. I'm walking you through a beginner-friendly, no foundation makeup routine that evens out the skin and keeps your skin looking like skin. So grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your matcha, grab your water, whatever your flavor, but grab your notebook and let's get into it. I got that recipe solid.
You walk in my direction, I go the other way. I start to stutter when you speak. You understand that my knees go weak. What's happening to me?
Just to let you know where I am starting off, and I guess where you should be starting off if you're doing this routine. Skin prep does not change. Skin prep matters. So I've already done my cleanser, my toners, my serums, my moisturizers, my SPF. Because it's never optional. And because we're not doing foundation, skin prep really does matter. You should look like a fresh, Krispy Kreme glazed donut straight out the oven after you're done your skin prep. Now we are skipping primer, so that is one less step, but we are going to go ahead and moisturize the lips. I'm going in with the Rock Lip Volumizer. Just kind of feeling like I want a little bit of a fuller lip. Not really sure what lip I'm doing. This could be your Aquaphor, this could be Vaseline, it could be the lip gloss that you plan on wearing. It's just that usually when I do my makeup look, I'm not 100% sure of what lip I'm going to do, but I definitely want to prep and prime the lip in case I do a matte lippy or any kind of lipstick. We want our lips to be soft. We want no dead skin. We don't want any peeling. So first step I always start off with is applying some kind of moisture, balm, something to the lip. And then let that sit while I finish the rest of my face. So next we're gonna go into brow gel. And then later on we're gonna fill them in. But right now we're just gonna go in with the brows. This is the L'Oreal Brow Laminate. I've been loving using this. I love the little small spoolie that it has. But I'm just going to basically get the gel in there, lay them down. You always want to make sure that you have nice done brows. Brows are like the framework of your face. Sometimes just the brows, pulling them together will make a whole difference into your entire look. I start off going in wild directions with the gel because you want the gel to be on every side of the hair. If you think about it, brushing it down, you're putting gel on the inside of the hairs, right? So that when you then brush them up, it's going to stick to your skin. So that is why you go in a weird all over direction when you first apply the gel. And then once you got it nice and coated, I then start brushing upward and in the direction of my arch. Nice and easy, nothing heavy. You don't need much product when it comes to brow gels. Sometimes when you apply too much, it will then turn white as the day goes on, and you'll be looking crusty and dusty by the brows. And we don't really need that, friend. Now that the brows are done, it's time to move on to the face, to where all the magic happens. So I'm going to go in with a concealer. Now you want to choose a concealer that is the same shade as you. But let me say this, if you have really strong dark marks or really dark under eyes, you will want to do a color correcting first, because sometimes if your dark marks are too dark, it will still show through your concealer. So if you do have darker marks, I would first do some color correcting only in those spots, not all over your face, of course, and then move on with the concealer. But if you don't, and you have a good concealer that provides good coverage and your dark marks don't show through, or if you're just blessed and you don't have any dark marks or dark circles, then just go in straight with your concealer. So this is the Lancome Tawny Doll Ultra Wear Concealer. I love this concealer, and this is in the color 460. This matches my skin tone. And again, we're just going to spot conceal. I have seen so many videos where people are like, oh, no makeup look, or no foundation makeup look. And then they take their concealer and swipe it all over their entire cheek. Girl, I might as well have worn foundation or even a skin tint if you're going to do all that. I am going for very minimum products on the face because, like I said, we just want our skin to look like skin. And if you're someone who's not really into makeup, not really into foundation, you probably don't want to go that route of putting it all over your face. So again, just spot concealing. I have some darkness down here at the bottom. And then this little guy's showing up. I don't even know why. Then I could do a little bit over, is that just a shadow or a dark spot? It's a dark spot, that's fine. And then I have a dark spot here. And then of course, oh wait, there's one here. Forgot about her. And then of course we're gonna go under the eye, because you know, me and Team No Sleep. And if you've seen any of my previous videos about applying concealer, we're not gonna go right up under the waterline. We're gonna bring it down a little bit. And then I'm also gonna put a little bit on the outside just for that lifted look. Always wanna be lifted. Now we are gonna let the under eye set, but we're gonna blend in everything else. So I'm taking just a little fluffy brush. No, this is the Sephora 57 brush. I love using this brush. And then we're just gonna blend out this concealer into our face. You could also do, I guess I could do like a beauty sponge. I just don't have one around right now. Now to make sure I don't have any kind of harsh lines, after I've done my spot concealing, I will blend out the edges around the rest of my face. Still not covering my entire face with anything, not applying any extra products. I'm just blending out the edges so that you don't see any kind of harsh line. So I would just dab right here, make sure that it's all nice and covered, and then blend out around the edges to make sure that concealer blends into our skin. I'm getting two little moles right there. I see you, moles, come through. I'm not gonna hide you though. Now for the under eye, you could continue with a brush or get an angled brush, but I love going in with my little powder puff because I just love how it blends everything out. And then I just gently blend the two sides and bring it up to the waterline. That's beautiful. That is a really good shade match. Lancome is definitely one of my favorite brands when it comes to foundation and concealer. And then what I always do after I'm blending out my under eye is just take it up to my lid, just to even things out there as well. And then after all that is blended out, what I like to do is take a beauty blender and then just go over everything. It was going to pick up any kind of excess product, but also make sure we don't have any harsh lines that we missed. Just making sure everything is nice and blended out. If you don't know by now, when it comes to makeup, it's all about blending. It's not about the product, it's about blending. If your arm doesn't hurt by the time your makeup is done, you didn't blend enough. That's just my own philosophy. So now that we have applied that concealer, that cream product, we now have to set it. My favorite setting powder from my entire face is the Laura Mercier Translucent Powder. And this is in the color Medium Deep. It's very lightweight, and that's exactly what you need for this makeup look. And I just feel like actually with any makeup glam, but there's always a little bit in the top. And if not, I always just turn it over, get some in the top, and then I work from the top. But I take my brush, get in there, dab off any excess, and then basically go all over my face, but especially in those areas where I put that concealer. Even though it says that it's translucent, I just feel like it gives me this nice veil of color over my face. And even though it may feel like nothing is in the top, girl, go back in that top and get that product. Trust me, there is some in there. And then don't forget the lids. And I did not forget about the under eye. I'm probably just going to use a powder puff so that I can make sure I get under my under eye instead of this big brush. Also, this is the Sephora 50 brush. So then I do grab a little bit of powder from the jar, very lightly. This is what it looks like. Then I'm going to take the top, dab it into the top. Be aggressive. You might be like, but you're taking all the product off. Yep. Then take your hand, dab it in there. Okay. And then making sure that your under eye is nice and blended out because we don't want to set any kind of creasing. You're going to go ahead, blend out that under eye, and then set with the powder just to make sure that that stays put. And then don't forget the lid. Same thing with the other eye, blend that out, and then set. All right, just get right around the nose as well while I have this powder puff. All right, our face is set and we're almost done. Next, we're gonna go ahead and apply some blush. Blush is not optional, friend. We have evened out the skin tone. We have set it with powder and we look like we have no blood in our body. We need to bring that color back. So blush is not optional and we need to apply it. Now, here's my tip for blush. Comfortable with makeup, but again, it still wants to look put together. So I'm not trying to throw in all of my steps for a makeup look. I'm trying to keep it simple and soft. But because I still want that nice warmth bronzer look, and we still have to apply blush, which is not optional, I'm going to go in for a blush bronzer kind of color. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tap it into the jar. And then if you are using a cream blush, I'm going to dap off any excess on the back of my hand. If you're using a powder blush, still dap off any excess because you don't want it to be too heavy. And then you go in lightly and put it on the high points of your cheek because we still want that nice lifted look. And we just build it up from there. If you need more, then you add more, but you want to start light and then build up. And you just adding, like I said, a little bit of color back to your face. Oh, this mousse blush is phenomenal, which you could also use as a lip, but I don't think I'm gonna do that with this color. Actually, my first time using this color. I just got these in and I used a different color. It was like a cranberry, but this is my first time using this color. A lot of people will compare this to Rose blush, but I don't have Rose blush, so I can't really support that theory, but this is such a beautiful color on my skin tone. And then if for some reason I feel like I was a little bit aggressive on my blush now because I kept talking and forgetting what I was doing, I'm going to go back in with my powder brush and just kind of diffuse some of that color. But also at the same time, you're blending in any kind of harsh lines. Gorgeous. Beautiful. Now we look like we're human. All right, next steps. When it comes to blush, you can feel free to use a powder blush, but I'm going to go in with a cream blush. Especially after applying all of this powder, I just think that a nice cream blush is going to look so beautiful on the skin after applying, like I said, all the powders. Like a cream blush adds radiance. It adds some like a nice glow to your cheekbones. And in this case, I'm actually going to use a mousse blush. This is from Maybelline, and this is Cloudtopia in the color Toasted Sky. Now, the reason why I'm using this color is because, as you can tell, we did not add bronzer. I am a bronzer girl. I love bronzer down, but I'm trying to make this makeup look very simple, very minimum. Again, this is for someone who is not really, so remember how I said we're going to come back and fill in our brows? We are now there at that time. So I'm using the Anastasia Brow Wiz pencil in the color dark brown. You always want to be very light-handed when you're using an eyebrow pencil. It may not look like product is coming out or being added to your brow, but I assure you it is there. Also, if you use an additional mirror to get very close up into your brows, what I would suggest is, yes, start applying some hair-like strokes into your brow. We still want it to look like hair, but then every once in a while, you want to take a wide outward look at your progress, because sometimes when you're close, it will show everything. It will show every gap in your eyebrow. We don't need to fill in every gap. We just want the gaps that you can see from far away, because sometimes when you're filling in every single gap, you are making your eyebrow darker, and then you're going to look angry, and it's going to like throw off your whole makeup look. If you do use an additional mirror to get nice and close so that you can see what you are doing, I would just suggest you also take a break from looking close and get a full view. And then you always want to concentrate most of your product on the tail end of your brows. If you concentrate more on the inward part, you're going to look angry. Why are you so mad? And if you have an RBF like I do, you don't need that extraness. So if you do have to fill in anything in the front, keep it very light, keep it very minimum. But if you don't have to, then girl, don't even touch it. And just focus on the rest of your brow. And then fill in the other side. I feel like this brow is like my problem child. She has a lot of gaps. So I tend to work a little bit longer on her. But then on the flip side, she also has the longer hairs. It's a weird conundrum. Just remember to always keep very light hair-like strokes. We want the brows to still look like brows and look like hair. Next, I like to apply an eyeliner to my eyes, but I like using a brown eyeliner. You can use whatever color you want, but my whole idea about this look is to keep it soft, and I feel like using a black eyeliner kind of makes it not soft. I don't want to say hard because that sounds very aggressive, but it kind of does. So I like using a brown eyeliner. I don't want you to see the eyeliner, but I want the benefits of what an eyeliner does. So I basically just tightline my bottom waterline, and then for the top, I just bring it on the outside. I don't even do the whole top waterline. I don't know why. There is no rhyme or reason. It's just what I do. It's just what I like. I mean, and that's the thing about makeup. Like, it's all about your own preferences. Yes, makeup artists or people you see online, they're going to make suggestions. But at the end of the day, it's what works for you, it's what you like. So that's why I was saying, like, if you want to use a black eyeliner, girl, use a black eyeliner. I just like the way brown looks for me. But also, don't knock it till you try it. You know what I'm saying? And then the last step that comes to your eyes is your mascara. Now, I'm not someone who applies falsies, girl. I have tried and I just cannot get it. So I rely heavily on a good mascara. So this is the L'Oreal Panorama mascara, and this is one that I have kind of been reaching for lately. I just love how it has my lashes looking. So this has been my go-to lately. But if you are a falsies girl, add your falsies. And then when it comes to mascara, you definitely want to make sure that you're not only just applying on the outside of your lashes, but you want to get on the inside as well. You want to comb down to get on the inside of the lashes. I'm telling you, that makes a world of difference. It's kind of like when you were doing the brows. You want to get both sides of the hair. I feel like mascara is probably the thing I spend the most time on because I truly get every single lash possible. So I do spend quite some time on my mascara. And then I also do my bottom lashes. Also, another little tip when it comes to mascara, do not pump your mascara. Don't do that. You're just pumping air and bacteria in your mascara tube. If anything, you just go in there and maybe you can swirl around in the tube to get more mascara, but do not pump your mascara. That's like the worst thing you can do. Then pumping it, adding the air into it, you're just gonna make it dry out faster, which is gonna make you buy more mascara faster. Just don't do it. And then the last thing for your face is that you want to do a setting spray. I'm using the LYS setting spray. I like using a liquid setting spray for these nice light looks because we want to keep the skin looking like skin. And so this just really helps melt all the powder products down, and again, making it nice and glowy and looking like skin. Also, you always want to do like a little test first because sometimes the sprayer can get clogged and the way it sprays will ruin the entire makeup. So I always do like a little spray, test it out, and then you want to keep it a nice little distance from your face and spray it. Woo, give me a nice little glow. And this is an actual mattifying setting spray. So even though it's mattifying, I still feel like the fact that it is a liquid setting spray, it still gives me that nice glowy look. And then lastly, we did not forget about the lips. So I'm going to take off that balm that I had. So with this kind of lip, I normally wouldn't do any kind of bold lip just because I didn't apply any kind of color corrector. So I don't want the shadow to start to appear if I do apply a bold lip. And again, we're keeping this very soft. So I am going to apply a lip gloss, and which is something different for me, I'm also going to apply a lip liner. I think we're going to go with chestnut, or should I go with cork? And let's do chestnut. Now, normally I am not a lip liner and lip gloss kind of girl. I just apply the lip gloss and that's it. But if the lip gloss does have pigment, I will apply a nice soft lip liner, but not one of my more deep chocolate lip liners. So that's why I was trying to decide between cork or chestnut. And hopefully chestnut is not going to be too much. I'm going to keep it really light. That should be good. But for the lip gloss, this is going to be the Maybelline Lifter Gloss in color Gummy Bear. It has a nice pink hue to it. So that's why I'm adding a liner. And then with my liner, I always bring it in a little bit so the line isn't as harsh. And then going in with my lip gloss. I don't think this is a lip gloss I had in mind, that I had the more of a pink hue, but we're here. She's still cute. And that's the look, friend. My no foundation makeup look. I look put together. I feel put together, confident to go and do whatever I need to go do, or even just be productive as I work from home. So make sure that you are subscribed. Everything that I use, I will have down in the description box. Talk to me in the comments. Let me know if you tried this or if you have any kind of questions. I definitely will get back to you. And I will see you in the next video. Love you in real life.
I just wanna go down.
Cosmic.